How's it going? Welcome back to another show. This is You Made Roscoe, and I am Roscoe. And today's show, we're going to be doing a reaction to a video called The 1992 Dream Team, the greatest team sports ever assembled. And this is a documentary that more than likely I'm going to be breaking down into three parts. So this will be part one of that. But before I continue, I do want to ask for anybody who hasn't that they please subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be reminded of future shows anytime they're being published. I'm going to give a shout out as well to Tiff121, who's she's the one responsible for requesting that I check this out. So Tiff, much love to you. Thank you very much for suggesting this and for rocking out with me on the page. And without further ado, we're going to get right into this. So let's do it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Weiner. 20 years ago, everything changed in the basketball world when the Dream Team made its appearance on the Olympic stage in Barcelona. Fans across the globe saw the story unfold on the court as a Hall of Fame collection of talent dominated the competition. What took place behind the scenes has remained hidden until now. Up next, an NBA TV original documentary. It's NBA TV's The Dream Team, presented by Right Guard.
That we were a little concerned about was probably Michael.
The thought back then was Michael Jordan plays 36 holes of golf 90 days during the summer. What the hell is he going to be doing playing basketball?
I was hoping they would not ask me to participate. And I was trying to figure out a way graciously that I could decline. I'd done the Olympic thing before, and when Rod Thorne called me and asked me, I wasn't gung-ho about it.
My appeal to him was, you're the top player in the world. This is bigger than the NBA Finals, and, we need you. His thing, well, who else is playing? I mean, are all the good players going to play? I'm not going to play by myself.
So Michael Jordan waited to hear more, and Rod Thorne made his next call.
It was a no-brainer for me. I was in from day one. And I figured if I jumped in first and said I wanted to play, that would get guys to want to participate as well.
That's pretty dope of Magic, who at that time he had already been diagnosed with HIV at that point. Just probably like a year before this or something like that. But yeah, no, Magic knew how important this was, realized how important it was for him to put his stamp and his name and attach his name to this. Because like he said, like you get somebody like him to say, I'm in, then I mean, who else is going after as far as the top players are concerned, who was going to be declining after Magic said, I'm in? For one, like most everybody who was of that era would have loved to play with Magic anyway. You know what I mean? In any capacity. So that was big right there. And to get Michael Jordan, of course, that would be really the real seal of approval right there for everybody else. Like if Michael Jordan is playing, who is you if you're Charles Barkley or Patrick Ewing or any one of these guys? If you decline that Michael Jordan's playing and Magic Johnson is playing, then so it is what it is. But that was pretty dope. But let's keep it going.
I think if Magic wasn't on that team, I don't think it would have been as spectacular as it was. And to finish out our careers, that was important for both of us.
Once you get guys like Magic and Larry committing to the team, then all of a sudden it becomes something very, very special. Representing the USA is already a tremendous honor, but to know that you're going to be on a dream team is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Magic, Bird, and David Robinson weren't alone in their pride.
They called in the big guns. We're the Navy SEALs that we had to go over there and kick butts and take names.
With those
I like how Patrick Ewing put that. We were the Navy SEAls. And that's the realest statement probably in basketball history down there. Because this particular team would change the history of basketball forever, really, around the world. The fact that we get the Nowitzkis and Luka Doncic and all these type of dudes who more than likely were inspired by this team. This was big. So let's keep it going.
Those stars and the Utah Jazz tandem of John Stockton and Karl Malone, the dream team was starting to take shape.
It don't matter if you call me last. I got the call.
I didn't feel like that I deserved to be called, but I truly wasn't going to tell them that.
I was like, yeah, I'm in. I didn't even think to say who else on the team. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Yes.
Charles Barkley's ability was never in question, but his attitude was.
God want us to win the world championship.
I don't know if I go that far, Charles.
No, I talked to him the other night.
I learned early in Philadelphia. It doesn't matter what I say. So from this day forward, I'm going to say what the hell I want to say. And some people are going to like it, and some people are going to dislike it.
But after a series of incidents on and off the court, the least of the committee's concerns were about what Barkley would say.
I was asked to talk to him. He was so honored that we would even think about asking him. He convinced me that you won't have any problems with me.
Now, with the team nearly complete, Rod Thorne had enough talent secured to go back to where he started.
Representing my country was a big thing, but I think, the biggest motivation for me was now I get to spend time with some of the guys I compete against all the time.
Portland's Clyde Drexler rounded out the list of NBA players, while the final spot on the roster was reserved for an amateur, Duke's Christian Laettner, coming off back-to-back NCAA titles.
There's the pass to Laettner. Puts it up. Yes!
In any other Olympic year, Laettner might have.
That is crazy. That is crazy right there. That was a little bit controversial right there. That move, I remember, because I mean, you got all these NBA dudes for one, and then you include him, which it was cool because actually, crazy enough, I was a Laettner fan at the time, but I also realized like Shaquille O'Neal was still in college at this time, and Shaquille was probably the most, well, not probably, he was the most dominant thing in college. His team wasn't doing as well as Duke's team, of course, but like Shaq was the most dominant thing. So to get passed over for Christian Laettner, it was like, you know what I mean? Like we could have threw Shaq out there, but I get it. For one, they had a lot of centers already. You had Ewing, you had David Robinson. I feel like there's somebody else I'm forgetting that's in there. But as far as the big men go, you had a lot of big men already. Karl Malone, even though he's not a center, but he's a big. They had bigs, so I get it. But Christian Laettner, because he was College Player of the Year, I believe they won the college championship, the NCAA championship that year. So yeah, no, I got it. In retrospect, it makes sense. But when I was a kid, then I was like, that should be Shaq, But and then that thing about Barkley that they were talking about being worried about his presence on the team. Oh man, that was some hellified foreshadowing right there, because they had reason to be concerned, and it just ended up happening that Barkley kind of created some waves a little bit. You know, they probably going to allude to this later on in this documentary, but he was getting nasty over there a little bit. He's throwing a few bowls here and there, but he was also like he was the top scorer on that dream team. I don't know if people realize that, but Barkley was leading the team in scoring. You know, so for all that BS, he still was getting off. You know, but let's keep this going.
Been the team's biggest star, but on this team, he was fine with being the last guy on the bench.
I tell people this all the time, and it may shock them, but my most enjoyable year was my freshman year because they don't expect nothing from you except carry the luggage, do the laundry, and get our donuts. And that's easy. The harder thing is to be the leader.
By May of 1991, 2 months before the Olympics, the team was set. One college kid and 11 future Hall of Famers. The man charged with putting it all together was the unflappable Chuck Daly.
Okay, all set?
All set.
Chuck looked the part. He was the guy that looked like he owned the arena, but he would also push the broom.
His hair was beautiful. His suits were immaculate. He wanted to win, but he wanted to look good.
As the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, Daly did both, winning back-to-back championships in 1989 and 90.
The Pistons are winners and still champions of the world.
The Pistons were nicknamed the Bad Boys for their aggressive and some said dirty style of play, never more evident than in their memorable playoff battles with Michael Jordan's Bulls.
Michael on the move against Vinnie Johnson to the hoop. He is necktied. Oh. Michael Jordan goes down hard.
Detroit and Chicago had no love for each other.
So when Daly was named the Dream Team coach, many wondered how he'd handle working with the Bulls' biggest star.
I was being asked to wrestle with some demons and some issues.
But the coach was well acquainted with the task of managing personalities.
He coached the bad boys. And if you can coach those, you can coach anybody.
One player Daly wouldn't be coaching in the Olympics, however, was his own star in Detroit, point guard Isaiah Thomas, who controversially had been left off the team's roster.
No matter how much people try to say now, you know, it was no big a deal. It was a big deal.
I talked to Isaiah at the beginning of the year about the aspect he wasn't on the team, and he was not comfortable with it. I'm sure he is very hurt. He's a very deserving player, but you know, he was not selected.
Thomas was well on his way to a Hall of Fame career, but was also seen by many as the biggest cultivator of the bad boys image in Detroit.
And now Isaiah Thomas and hard right arm swinging.
Isaiah was the general. He was the guy that would yap at his teammates and say, knock them on the ass, do whatever you got to do.
The beautiful backdoor pass from Pippen, and he is walloped. He knew he was going to get hit.
I just
See these, I'm a Chicago, so this hits home with me. And Isaiah is a Chicagoan too. Crazy enough. He's definitely from here, West Side native. Much love to him for that, you know, stand up Chicago. But those years, those bad boy Bulls rivalry years, I was right there, dead in the middle of all that stuff, you know, as a fan. But those years was crazy, you know, brutal years. And but I like a lot of people thought it was weird that Isaiah wouldn't be on that team, though. You know, because especially given that John Stockton was on the team, and Stockton is a Hall of Famer, all-time great, all that good stuff. He's like he deserved to be there. But like if me, you know what I mean? I don't know how a lot of people feel about this, but me personally, I would have picked Isaiah over John Stockton. I just would have. You know what I mean? Like he's more explosive. He could do just about anything that John Stockton could do, probably a little better. You know, so yeah, that was a controversial move right there. You know, But having Chuck Daly, who is a great coach, you know what I mean, or was a great coach. Rest in peace to him. But yeah, no, it was a weird time, you know, when they were selecting all of the pieces that they put in play for this team. So I just want to point that out. But let's keep it going.
Biased the way that he played the game.
Did you want him on the dream team?
No, I did not want him on the team.
Did Michael? Did you want him on the team?
Well, I can't speak for Michael, but I don't think he wanted him on the team.
Now, there has been speculation that your icy relationship with Isaiah Thomas is the reason that he was not selected. Well, what is your reaction to that?
That was one of the stipulations put to me prior to me even committing, that Isaiah wasn't a part of the team. I was getting strong innuendos that it wasn't just, you know, it was coming from higher places that didn't want Isaiah Thomas on the team.
Certainly things are being pointed at me because of our relationship and of course about the way that the end of the game between Detroit and Chicago ended.
We were picking the group just after the Pistons had been eliminated by the Bulls, and it was very bad timing for Isaiah. Everybody had fresh in their mind the picture of Isaiah walking off the court.
Pistons wasting no time in getting out of here. They left.
That was one of the worst shows or lack of sportsmanship that I had seen up to that point. Like that was, and like they said, it was just bad timing that they were picking this team, and right before that, the Bulls had gotten rid of them, you know, in the NBA playoffs. And like Isaiah is the one that kind of fostered this whole thing with a whole team, basically, save for like one or two dudes, maybe. I think John Sally was one of the dudes who actually stayed to like congratulate the Bulls and all that. But everybody else damn near walked off the court on the Bulls. I had never seen that. You know, like usually when, you know, after the game, win, lose, we dap each other up. Isaiah, man, that was bad. That was bad, you know, and I remember that. Oh my God. But let's keep it going.
The bench, although there's 7 and 9/10 seconds remaining. The Pistons just left.
When the Pistons walked off the court before the final bell, I think it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
All right, no Isaiah Thomas
question.
Cool.
Jordan and the team were done answering questions about Isaiah. But with training camp approaching, a bigger question would need to be answered.
Hello, how you doing?
How would the 12 stars that were selected play together?
Welcome.
Training camp began on June 22nd, 1992, in La Jolla, California. And when the gym doors opened, no one was quite sure what to expect, especially the players themselves.
There's a lot of egos in one gym and on one team. Everybody wanted their form to shine and showcase why they were a part of this team.
With all these stars on the team, if it comes down to the last shot, who's going to take the shot?
Me. Everybody in the world has an ego. The only difference between us, we have a reason to have an ego.
Before the Dream Team could play in the 1992 Olympics, they had to qualify. The place to do that was Portland, Oregon, and the Tournament of the Americas. It would be the public's first chance to see the NBA stars together in a game, especially Jordan, Bird, and Magic. Daly had asked all three to be team captains, but Jordan had turned him down.
I knew how much it meant to both of those guys because they never had the opportunity to play on the Olympics. So I'd say, you know what, Chuck, don't worry about me. You know, let these old dogs do it.
Magic and Bird weren't just the team's oldest players. They were also the most revered. They had entered the league together in 1979, embarking on a rivalry that had redefined the NBA. And along the way, their personal admiration for one another had grown.
Magic's just a great basketball player. He's the best I've ever seen, you know. Unbelievable. I don't know what to say.
In 1992, they'd be getting the chance to share the ball. But the opportunity would be coming at the end of their careers. Bird had given his soul to the game, but after so many years, his body was betraying him.
Had back problems. It just get to the point where you just couldn't play. I mean, you couldn't think, couldn't move, couldn't run. You know, if you can't feel your feet, it's hard to run.
Larry was on the fence because of his back, so I said, man, LB, you gotta play, man. You gotta play. This is our last chance to be together.
Magic would be able to convince his old friend to play. But at the start of the 1991-92 NBA season, he was forced to retire after learning he had the HIV virus. Doctors would eventually clear him to play in the Olympics, though that didn't stop fears from swirling.
There's a lot of players that really didn't want him to play, didn't want to play with him or against him, because nobody knew what disease meant. You know, they say you get a little blood on you, you got HIV, or you breathe on you, you know. I never bought any of that, you know. You just keep going. And that's what Irving decided to do, just keep pushing, keep going.
6-5, three-pointer, yes!
It's crazy that, concerning Magic, that he would end up on the same team, on the Dream Team with Karl Malone, because Malone was actually one of the bigger voices when it came to when it came to something to say about Magic. And this was even before the Dream Team. This was like, him in their NBA regular season, all that stuff. But he definitely was one of the bigger voices who was against having Magic still playing the game with the HIV virus, because he, all of the speculation and all that stuff that came with it. And it was just kind of the sign of the times, even though Malone, he was proved to be wrong, in his assessment. But he really, you really couldn't fault him for thinking like that at that time, because it was still such a new thing. Like, we really had just started hearing about, HIV and AIDS and all this stuff in the 80s, so when it came about, nobody knew how you contracted it, and all that stuff in the beginning, and people were still like really, really scared, like AIDS and HIV had a huge, huge stigma around it, so Karl Malone and a few players, they definitely had something to say about that. But it's just crazy that, sometime afterward they would end up on the same team, so I just thought that was interesting. But let's keep it going.
Magic had made a cameo in the 1992 All-Star Game and had focused his attention on the Olympics, hoping for an encore of a lifetime alongside his old rival.
Our careers were really over, and it was something I thought needed to happen for both of us.
Their debut would take place at Portland's Rose Garden, with their team needing to medal in the Tournament of the Americas to qualify for the Olympics. That seemed like a foregone conclusion to just about everyone, including their first opponents, who were completely in awe before the game even started.
The Cuban team spontaneously drops to its knees as if 12 popes had come by on Easter Sunday. At that point, the idea that this is merely a basketball game has been ripped asunder.
It was a surreal feeling. She's like, dude, we're here to kick y'all behind. And they want to take pictures with you.
Then the game begins. Magic and Larry come out together, two guys that had saved the league. They wouldn't even be playing this game without those two. And Magic passed the ball. Larry makes the first basket.
Bird backing in, goes to the fadeaway.
I mean, it just didn't get any better than that.
The U.S. was off and running, and the result was a thing of beauty.
Johnson leading the break, finds Robinson.
And no one seemed more excited to be sharing the court than the co-captains.
Bird for
Opening night was a smashing success, with the outcome never in doubt.
A bullet from Magic to Portland.
And late in the game, fans in Portland decided they wanted a curtain call from a three-time MVP.
The crowd start cheering, Larry, Larry, Larry.
To the entrance of Larry Bird, a standing ovation.
And as he'd done so many other times in his career, Larry Bird rose to the occasion.
Jordan with the behind-the-back save. Here's Bird. Yes.
You just knew that Larry Bird was not going to miss that shot.
It was a virtually flawless performance. The final margin of victory was 77 points. And Magic and Bird had led the way. For Magic in particular, after a year out of the game, the victory had a special kind of meaning.
Living with HIV, never even thinking that I would ever have a chance to play basketball again, and then basketball for the United States, it was therapy for me. And I needed that in the worst way.
And then there was the matter of making sure Michael Jordan knew he was back as well.
Yeah, you hear what the captain said? The captain said, sit down, or this boat is going to sink.
That's right. Have a seat, because you're going to fall, and then that's going to happen.
That's the seniority right there.
I know it.
With Magic and Michael, there was that little extra something there, you know, and something kind of to prove to each other.
I took it upon myself to always shoot with Michael. Okay, MJ, free throws today. Who was the first one to 50? Or we had little games. Who was the better shooter?
Who was the better shooter? Oh my Jesus. Oh man, in that regard, Magic, sit your butt down, man. You know, like Magic was known for a lot of things, you know what I mean? But shooting wasn't necessarily one of those. But you know, he was Magic was a great player and a great competitor, and that was a great way of just keeping that motivation there, you know, for these guys, you know. So yeah, no, big that was big time, you know, for Magic and for Mike. Let's keep this going.
You know what you gotta do. Know what you gotta do. Here it is.
He didn't want to relinquish that control of the 80s, in a sense, even though we were going into the 90s.
Don't touch the phone. One hand, don't touch it.
You know, he just come off missing a whole year. So it was who can win, who's going to have the bragging rights by the end of this trip.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
You haven't committed a foul in almost a year and a half, man. How can you talk?
Michael's always tried to let people know that he's the top dog in whatever. That's just his competitive mode.
I'm the young guy with the elder statesman. These old guys, they got arthritis. They can't stand in one spot too long.
He's a young puppy. I'm the big dog here. Whatever I say goes.
While the winner of Magic and Michael's "Can You Top This" challenge remained in doubt, when it came to facing the competition in the Tournament of the Americas, the team stood united.
When we took the court in Portland, which, you know, we're on home ground, we wanted to showcase to the fans who will be representing them.
The lead is 30. Steele. Jordan.
I'm going to send a message around the world today that y'all can give it up. You foreigners can give it up.
Mullet with a steal. Stockton has Mullet. Goes the other way. Stockton set him up perfectly.
The Americans won their 6 games at the tournament by an average of 50 points.
All right, Larry, your impressions of tonight's game.
The gold medal was no surprise. But what was unexpected was the team's interactions with their opponents, who showered them with adulation before after, and even during games.
Magic Johnson and Oranga shaking hands after the shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it right here. This will be the conclusion right here of this. What, like I said, is going to be part one of this. But this was like really good to see. It brings back a lot of nostalgia and all that type of stuff. So this was just great. We're going to continue this very soon, with part two of this, and then part three, of course. But man, dream team. Like the title says, the greatest team that has ever been assembled, and probably in any sport, definitely in basketball history. As far as that's concerned, and it's gonna be real. It's gonna be real dope to see the rest of this. Even though like a lot of this, I've been privy to seeing and hearing about. I'm pretty sure they're gonna introduce some elements that maybe I haven't been or haven't seen or something like that. So it'll be fun to see all that stuff, when we get back into this. But I'm gonna leave right now, leave it at this. But before I get up out of here, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the share button, hit the playlist option. You'll pick the one called Sports Reactions. I do have a playlist where it's filled up with stuff like this, whether it be documentaries or some highlights of some sports things from all type of sports. I'm trying to get around to all that. So be sure to check in that particular playlist for this. I do have playlists for other things. A lot of that stuff is going to be music related, but as you can see, I have some things that aren't necessarily music related. So be sure to check through the playlist for all of that stuff. A lot of great stuff. The Cash App, $ You Made Roscoe. PayPal is at You Made Roscoe for those who like to show their support or appreciation for the work being done on the page. And that's all I got. I will come back, like I said, with the next installment of this. So be sure to be ready and look out for that. So I'm gonna get going. Like I said, I will see you guys again soon. So until next time, you guys be safe and be good.